We are celebrating 250 years of America, and we still have people with Confederate flags being masked men going on the Capitol Hill saying, "Reclaim America." This is what happens when you didn't punish the Confederacy as much as you should have, and they might have lost the battle, but they won the war in the long run because a country that didn't even cease to exist for 5 years is still relevant to American politics today. We still see Confederate flags today. We still see their rhetoric to this very day, and that's because they refuse to punish them. They refuse to lose white numbers and get rid of some of their worst, and now these people are still trying to control and reclaim America, as they say. And it's disgusting. This is the 250th anniversary. Why are we still dealing with shit that's over 150 years ago with the Confederate flag and these people being openly racist? And they're not actually being openly racist because they're masked being cowards. It just goes to show. Had these people punished the Confederacy like they should have, we wouldn't be dealing with this in 2026. But because they didn't want to lose those numbers, we are still dealing with people like this today. And they already left the Capitol by the time Perry Lewis got there, so they know they're cowards. And yeah, this is what we're dealing with on the 250th anniversary of the United States of America.
No, this country can't be racist. You know, marching down to the state capitol with Confederate flags and American flags in khakis and a fucking collared shirt cannot be racist, because this could never be compared to this. This could never be compared to this, because you know why? They have on hoods. They have on khakis. This is America. This has always been America. For every white person that says this country is not racist and it cannot be racist, this shit was founded on racism, based on race and classism. And we still got y'all out here marching to reclaim America. From what, ho? Y'all already have it. America is a white country. We're just stuck in this bitch. And we have to sit here and watch this shit because y'all think whiteness is dying. Well, maybe if you treated your women right, your race would not be dying out. I'm so sick of America. I'm so sick of the lies Americans tell to make themselves look good, when on the day of your fucking birthday, you got fucking KKK members marching down to the Capitol like they've done before.
So this is the perfect American photo. On our 250th birthday celebration, this is literally the most American photo you can get. The tension, the inability for the unmasked passenger, the black woman, to move about completely freely with autonomy. There's literally limited space for her to get up or to move. The low passive aggressive energy, the anger, the fear, the discomfort. The Patriot Front has participated in delivering to America on its birthday the most classic American photo yet. This summarizes America at its truest core. You have somebody who is facing all the odds, sitting in the face of danger, in the face of challenges and opposition and stress. And then you have the surrounding system. This is the surrounding system. This perfectly represents our government, our society, our inability to progress, our inability to move forward. If you stripped away the colors in this photo, you could easily make this, you could say it's 1950s, you could say it's Jim Crow era. Jim Crow era, easily. If this were black and white and it had a little bit of wear to it, you know, a little degraded down in the quality. Oh yeah, this reveals to the planet exactly how ill America really is and how much further we have left to go. And it also shows that we clearly didn't do much since the Civil War. We didn't do much for the people that are championing the Confederacy and white supremacy and Jim Crow and racism. It just kind of shines a light very, very vividly and brightly. I think that photos speak 1,000 words. This photo here definitely spoke 1,000 words.
Picture this, you're on the DC Metro just trying to get somewhere on 4th of July. Outside, the city is celebrating America turning 250. By an administration you're acutely aware emboldens racists, supports white nationalism, and celebrates hate. The doors open and you're surrounded. A wall of masked white men floods the car. Navy shirts, khaki pants, tan caps, Confederate flags. Well, for a black woman photographed in that exact car today, it wasn't theoretical. It wasn't a headline. It was her body boxed in by men who believes the country isn't hers to occupy. This image, a black rider cornered in public transit by mass extremists, is extremely representative of the nation and is a microcosm for Trump's administration. The men on that train belong to the Patriot Front, the group born out of the wreckage of Charlottesville Unite the Right rally back in 2017 when Trump said they were very fine people on both sides. After that rally's backlash, the group's founder, Thomas Rousseau, understood that he couldn't use a swastika. That's too outright. That's too in your face. So the symbols changed and they started using the Betsy Ross flags, the red, white, and blue shields, the language of lineage and birthright. What didn't change was the goal, a white ethno state built on the exclusion of black, Latino, and immigrant Americans. Why do they feel safe enough to march unmasked confidently into a federal holiday chanting "Reclaim America" blocks from Union Station? Because extremism doesn't grow in isolation. These sentiments have been permitted from the top down. When political rhetoric at the highest level flirts with the Great Replacement theory, casts immigrants as invaders, and treats multiracial society as a problem to be solved, the rhetoric doesn't stay abstract. White nationalists don't hear policy. They hear that, oh, what we believe is a green light for us to enact this in real life outright.
They fought for a nation that was proud of its heritage, that was unashamed to say that America was built by and for the descendants of the European race, that was unafraid to say that we have a culture deeply steeped in the Anglo-Saxon traditions of our forebears.
That validation is exactly why Patriot Front has grown reportedly past 540 members nationwide while perfecting a specific tactic, the flash march, sudden, choreographed, built for the camera, not for community. They don't march to persuade anyone standing in front of them. They march to manufacture footage, dominance theater for the algorithm. So when someone asks why America keeps circling back to race, the answer isn't in the textbooks. It was riding the metro through the nation's capital this weekend. For millions of Americans, race isn't a debate club topic. It's a body pressed against train doors, a face held still while men in masks film their own myth. The masks are old, the choreography is new, but the project is the same one it has always been, deciding out loud and on camera who gets to count as an American.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel once again. Thank you so much for always coming back and tuning in. So guys, I want you guys to just continue watching this video whereby really we are reacting to a story that has generated a lot of discussion online. During the 4th of July weekend in Washington, D.C., a group of identified in news reports as a Patriot Front marched through the street wearing matching clothing and face covering. One image from that day quickly went viral, showing a black woman on a metro train with masked march nearby. That image has sparked conversation about race, public safety, political examination, and where America is heading. As always, this channel is about respectful discussion and thoughtful reaction. So I want you guys to just continue watching this video, and in the end, then I'll come back with final thoughts. And kindly, if you haven't subscribed, please remember to subscribe, like, and also comment. I'm your host, Team Tessie Commentary.
Flag! To the front! That's about it. We're good. Reclaim America!
having such an inferiority complex, such a need to make yourself feel superior, such a need to make yourself feel important, that you don't spend the 250th birthday of this country, a day that you won't get back, with your family, celebrating the successes of the country. You spend it going to the nation's capital to protest a country in which you hold the House, the Senate, presidency, and the Supreme Court. This is the base of the people who currently run every branch of government. And somehow they are shouting to reclaim a country that they already control. Let that sink in for a second. The funniest thing about this, though, is that it's not new. Their ancestors already did this. They marched on the Capitol, but their ancestors were not afraid to show their faces. Their ancestors were bold and confident, not cowards with an inferiority complex. The only thing that these so-called men accomplished, other than showing people how out of step they are with their marching, I mean, my high school marching band did a better job than that. But I digress. This shows their cowardice, as well as their internalized failure. A failure that they base off of Black success. Because as we know, all of these cowards and their cowardly ancestors went underground after the Civil Rights Movement. Things got real quiet to the point that people thought racism was dead in this country. That was, of course, until Obama was elected the President of the United States. Not once, but twice. And not only was he the President of the United States, domestically, he was one of the best we'd had in quite the while. And most people living today will say that he was their favorite president. This kicked off the internal failure of the people who had a 400-year head start in this country. People who are being lapped by the Black community, even with all of their privilege. What you see under those masks are the cowardly imprints of people who have everything in this country, the most protected class in the country, and they are still angry. It's still not enough for them. They have the most white supremacist administration that they have had since before the Civil Rights Movement. And they are still angry. Why? Because Black Americans are unbothered, unafraid, and unbound by their chains. We aren't doing what they want us to do. We aren't distressed. We aren't marching. We aren't in despair. If anything, this whole situation has brought the Black community together, and we are piggybacking off of each other, circulating our funds within our own communities. We are focusing in on our success, our mental health, our children. And for people whose whole existence depends on the suffering and despair of Black people, they are not getting what they want. And they are like toddlers, tantruming, trying to get the attention of the authority figure who is unbothered by their tantrum. It's pathetic, but it represents the cowardice that couples racism today. The fake accounts, the troll accounts. People will make an entirely fake account just so that they can be racist, hiding their identities, hiding their faces. Cowards, shells of what their ancestors were. And this picture right here represents all of that in a sea of cowardice racists. We sit unbothered, unmasked, and unafraid. The parallels to the past are certainly there. But honestly, I can't think of a better depiction of what America is and the state of the country right now. A country full of a bunch of racist cowards, loud in their anonymity.
Now, I made a post about this yesterday on IG, but I didn't get a chance to bring it over here. But this post was taken yesterday. This picture was taken yesterday in the Metro DC subway, where far-right white national extremists boarded the subway, and this one Black woman was sitting in the sea of white racist men with their faces covered. And to the other side, we have a Black man in Jim Crow era riding a bus with all white passengers, for all white passengers only. This is what Make America Great Again looks like. And this is how they plan on getting it there. One thing I'm going to ask y'all to urge the people running in Congress for your vote for midterms is for them to push laws against white nationalism, against racism, against the KKK, specifically for black people. We have an Asian hate bill. We don't have a black bill to protect us. A black woman, she doesn't look scared, but she does look uncomfortable. And that is the point of these people, to make us feel comfortable in a place that our ancestors built. I'm gonna say this, if 3x5 cards feel like their race is dying out and they're losing control, it's all in your head. Maybe if men would get off women's backs about their bodies, maybe y'all could procreate. That ain't got shit to do with us.
This picture just stopped me in my tracks. It's America's Independence Day today, 250 years since its founding. One woman sits alone on a Washington, D.C. metro train, a picture taken by Reuters. She's surrounded by masked white nationalists heading to a march. She's not shouting, she's not reacting, she's just simply there. What a haunting image, and one that should make every decent human being feel uncomfortable. This picture needs to be remembered, not because of fear, but because this should never be allowed to become normal.
This is the photo of the year. This picture was taken today, July 4th, 2026, America's 250th anniversary. This is a photo of a black woman sitting on the DC Metro surrounded by white supremacist members of the Patriot Front. If you've never heard of the Patriot Front, they are a white nationalist organization that was created after the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia in August of 2017. And this is what they're about in their own words. Pause to read. Been deemed a white supremacist hate group by both the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Anti-Defamation League. And if you're more of a visual learner, here is a video of them marching today in Washington, D.C., carrying Confederate flags. This picture is not only representative of what America really is, but it's representative of the black experience in America. A black woman surrounded on all sides by people who would hang her from a tree if they could. People whose identities are concealed because they're your policemen, your lawyers, your teachers, your doctors, and they'll get to go back to work on Monday. Business as usual. As for that black woman, she has to sit there and stare white supremacy in the face and just be silent.
250-year anniversary American State Fair flop. There are some things that I didn't see people touch on, so I'm going to touch on it, right? The reason why this thing is flopping so bad, as a person who lives in Florida and the state fair is always here in packed, you need the locals. That's the first thing. You need the locals. In Washington, D.C., 92.5% of the voters voted for Kamala Harris. Only 6.6% voted for the orange buffoon. So for a fair to be successful, you need the locals to come. And the minute that man made it about himself, the locals were like, fuck that shit, we not going. And like I said, I lived in Florida. There's a state fair that comes here every year, and it used to cost like $50 to go into it. I don't know what it is now because I haven't been to the fair in a minute, but $50 to go to the fair, and that thing is always packed. It doesn't matter if it's raining, it doesn't matter how hot it is, that it's always packed. The American State Fair is free. Free. And this is the crowd you get for a free event. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, during the January 6th, there were thousands of Trumpers over there. Yeah, it's because they could afford to go. Affordability is a problem right now because of the orange buffoon. A lot of these Trumpers are in rural parts of America with the tariffs, messed up the farmers, cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, cuts to food stamps. I mean, cuts to all social programs. And then the jacked up prices in groceries, the jacked up prices in gas. Trumpers can't afford to go to Washington, D.C. and spend all that money on plane tickets or bus tickets or train tickets or hotels, Ubers, Airbnbs, money for food. They don't have it. That's why they're not there. Affordability. So it's like a perfect storm. The locals aren't going because he made it about himself, and Trumpers can't afford to go. And then bots, because there are so many bots out there, it seems like there's more Trump supporters than there are. But this is the reason why this thing is flopping, is because the locals aren't going, even though it's free, and the Trumpers can't afford to go. That thing is a flop. A flop.
I'm sure by now everybody has seen the photo of the black woman riding the DC Metro, sitting between the KKK members. And this is the photo right here. And one of the main reasons why it is that I'm not showing this sister's face is because the white photographer who took this photo, I asked, hey, did you ask this sister if it was okay to be able to utilize her photo in this way? No response. And then I got a lot of people that were like, well, legally, and some folks attempting to try to tell me what a photojournalist is entitled to do because they work for the news. And this is where I need to speak to allies for a moment. Black people have a personhood. We are not just person number 16. We are humans that have agency. So my question to the photographer was not about legality. It was, hey, did you recognize this person as a human being or a subject? Enough to ask her if it was okay that she was photographed, or at the very least communicate with her in some way to even be able to identify the sister by her name. All of the narratives that have been created by this photo about this black woman being so scared. I wonder how scared she was. She a black woman in DC riding the metro. That's just the one scared. Hell, she was probably irritated. But somewhere along the way, people continue to forget that we deserve dignity, that we deserve.
The only thing I care about in regards to America turning 250 years old is the empire collapsing. I honestly don't care that this is a holiday where white people gained freedom from other white people. And then they literally said that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but realistically, that was only for white people. And more specifically, that was only for white men. And more specifically than that, it was only for straight white men. Like when they said everyone's created equal, they literally were only talking about straight white men. That's it. That's all. So I quite literally do not care about America turning 250 years old. The only reason I care about that is because I know the average lifespan of an empire is 250 years old. So honestly, we might be, collapsing. And honestly, I find joy in that because honestly, the systems of capitalism and the systems of patriarchy, those need to collapse. So realistically, I hope that's what's happening. I don't care to celebrate the 4th of July at all. Because realistically, it's not a holiday for anyone other than white people who gain freedom from other white people. That's literally what the holiday is. Like, that's not something to celebrate. It's quite literally not something to celebrate at all. So I literally don't care. Besides the fact that 250 years is the average lifespan of an empire, meaning that this empire is collapsing. And we're currently in the collapse, by the way. Like, you can just kind of tell that the American empire is collapsing. It's kind of going slow because the people who hold the positions of power are kind of like holding on for dear life. But realistically, it's inevitable. These systems can no longer continue in the way they have been because it's actually beyond corruption. So yes, the only thing I care about in terms of America turning 250 years old is the fact that the American empire is probably going to be no more. And we're within the collapse already of capitalism and patriarchy. Because I feel like people are having an awakening and realizing that these systems were actually never working for the people. It was only working for the people at the very top. And a lot of people who are not black basically got tricked into believing that they were better than just because they weren't black. But realistically, that really wasn't the case because the people at the top didn't care at all. They just wanted there to be some sort of alliance to people who don't like black people so that literally they can have that system play out and have the system of racism continue. But realistically, they don't care because those are the people at the top. So yes, I just am ready for this empire to collapse. That's the most exciting thing about America turning 250 years old, for real.
Boys, masks off then. You can't say something with your full chest while covering your full face. You believe this so much, take the mask off and shout it from the rooftops, yeah? Isn't it your guy? Isn't it your people? Isn't it the nationalists, the white people that are running the show? Isn't it your people, and yet you're still angry? Have you considered why that is? Have you considered why you still think you need to reclaim a country that you run? It's because you're cowards. It's because you're small, it's because you're weak, it's because you're incapable of leading effectively, because you hate everyone that doesn't look and think exactly like you, and therein lies the rub. You will never be able to reclaim this nation because you're incapable of building one. You are so afraid to actually stand up for what you believe in that you think this is an act of patriotism, and yet you can't even show your face.
Hello guys, welcome back. I hope you have just watched that full video. The first thing that caught my attention was the fact that The marchers were wearing masks. Whenever people choose to hide their identities while making a political statement, many people naturally wonder why. The question has become a major part of the conversation surrounding this event. Then there are the image that has spread across all over social media, a single photograph that carry a lot of emotion. Many viewers said the picture made them feel uncomfortable because it appeared to show a black woman surrounded by the masked men, while one photo doesn't always tell the full story. It's understandable why it has become such a powerful symbol in online discussion. For many Black Americans, scenes like this can bring back memories of difficulties, period in American history. That doesn't mean every situation is the same, but history shapes how people interpret events today. That is one reason why reactions have to be so emotional. The video also argues that extremely groups seem more willing to appear in public rather than they were years ago. People disagree about the reasons behind that. Some believe political rhetoric has contributed to it, while others point to social media or broader cultural changes. Whatever someone's political views may be, most people would agree that hate and intimidation don't help solve any problem. Another point that has stood out to me is how many people online are saying they are tired of living in constant divisions. Instead of spending all their energies arguing, many saying they want to focus on building strong families, business, education, and communities. That is a message that can be resonate regardless of the politics. Investing in your community is something that creates lasting change. The summary, the video also mentions criticism of the 4th of the July celebration itself, with a lot of people saying attendance was lower than expected. That can be many reasons. Attendance varies at public events, so it's important not to jump to conclusion without solid evidence. Still, it's clear that people are using the events as part of the wider conversation about the current mood in the country. One thing I always try to remember is that social media often highlights the most dramatic moments. Viral image and short clips can shape opinion very quickly, but they don't always provide the complete context. That's why it's important to look at multiple sources before forming a final conclusions. At the same time, we shouldn't dismiss how people feel. If an image makes someone feel fearful or concerned, those feelings are real. Listening to one another doesn't mean everyone has to agree. It means trying to understand why different people react differently. America has faced period of tension before, and it's also shown the ability to move forward through dialogue, community leadership, and peaceful civic engagement. That doesn't happen overnight, but respectful conversations are part of the process. My hope is that people continue to rejecting hatred and violence, regardless of where it comes from. Peaceful disagreements is part of democracy. Threats, intimidations, and extremes are not. Now, it's your turn. What was your reaction when you first saw this story? Do you think the viral image reflects a larger issues in America, or do you think social media sometimes amplify isolated events? So let's keep the discussion respectful in the comment. I enjoy hearing different perspectives as long as we can have a civil conversation. If you enjoyed today's reaction, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel please, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss future discussion. Thank you so much for watching me. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.